In this video, I am going to show you step by step how to launch and manage a change champion network to save you time in the process. There are 6 steps to launching and managing a change champion network successfully. Step 1, you need to define the purpose. What do I mean by that? Before selecting champions, you want to clarify why the network is being established. A vague purpose will lead to weak engagement. Identify whether the focus is driving adoption or reducing resistance or enhancing communication, or maybe it's all three. You want to tie the purpose of the Change Champion Network to measurable business outcomes, such as faster adoption, reduced downtime, or improved employee morale. You want to communicate the why to both champions and also to leadership. A lot of times I get questions about why do we need to define the purpose of a champion network? Shouldn't it just be assumed that a champion network is there to help increase adoption? But when you are communicating the champion network to leadership or to executives, or when you are asking managers to volunteer champion from their departments to be part of the network, they will often want to know, what are the objectives? What is the purpose of the champion network? And make sure you define the purpose as part of this step. You also want to communicate the why to both champions and leadership to ensure alignment. So here is an important tip for you. When doing your change champion network assessment and mapping, and you have a template where you are entering information about your champions, you want to make sure you include 2 important columns to your template. The first one is a department column. It allows you to very quickly see how many champions do you have within each department. Another critical column is the OCM experience column. Why is this important? Well, knowing which champion has a low level of change management experience or a mid-level of change management experience allows you to quickly identify champions that need more support. That way, you can very quickly provide them with education about best change management practices. We will be doing a champion kickoff. So I've been doing change management now for over 20 years. And time again, I have had to implement a champion network kickoff and onboarding as part of doing change management. It's a critical step. And during that champion onboarding, there are some key things that you go over, which we are going to be going over as part of today's session. That is different from what I'm talking about here for champions that have low or mid-level change management experience. Oftentimes, you need to meet one-on-one with these champions after you've done the kickoff with all the champions. After that, you want to have touch points. It could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes with these champions that have low or mid-level change management experience so you can educate them on best change management practices. Step number 2. Step number 2 involves selecting the right champions. What do I mean by that? Choosing the right people will make or break the change champion network. And so you want to look for influence, not just job titles. Champions should be trusted voices across different levels within the organization. Managers, leaders, and frontline employees need to be able to trust their champions. And so, when discussing with leaders and managers and asking them to volunteer champions from their departments, you want to provide them with this selection criteria. Credibility among colleagues is a key selection criteria for a champion. Strong communication skills. If you have somebody that doesn't speak up, they don't make a good champion. You also want to identify people that are excited about change and people that are willing to give honest feedback. If you have an individual that doesn't speak up because they don't want to offend you, then that doesn't make them a good champion. Here's another important aspect for you to keep in mind. You want to ensure that you have a well rounded group of champions. That should include champions from multiple departments, not just one department. So take a look at all of the departments that will be impacted. You want to ensure you're getting champions from there. But you just don't want to get any role from those departments. You want different levels. If your champion network just includes VPs and presidents, that is not effective at all. Think about it. Would a frontline employee be comfortable going to express an issue they're running into? Oh, I cannot really use the system. Let me run to my VP champion. No. And so you want to make sure you get champions that are frontline employees, champions that are mid-level managers, and then maybe one or two higher level champions that will allow you to reduce resistance at the leadership level. For example, when I was delivering a very high visibility change management for one of the top 5 global organizations, I ran into a situation where one of the very senior VPs was resisting the change because she didn't like the direction the CEO was going with that change. And because she was resisting, she made sure everyone within her department of about 2,000 people knew the fact that she wasn't bought into this change. So I needed to include the CIO as part of the champion network, but considered him a leadership champion. He was literally less than 1% of the leadership individuals within the champion network were literally less than 1%, just a couple of them. But I needed those senior leadership champions to help engage with this senior VP that was resisting and help transform her from, or rather convert her from resisting into buying into the change. And there are different ways you can do this to help mitigate resistance. And we actually just published another video that covers how to manage resistance to change. So make sure you check out that video. So back to discussing champions. If you have a list of 100 champions, then you want to ensure that 90 to 95% of them are mostly frontline employees or mid-level managers. Okay. Now, right here on my screen is an email you can use to communicate to the champions that have been selected. I will show you shortly how to get access to this email communication. There are 2 parts to this email communication. One of the first part really just provides them with, hey, congratulations, you've been nominated. and you've been nominated by your leadership or by your manager. Now, I had somebody ask me the other day, hey, Obi, we are rolling out a champion network, and it's a big network, and there are 20 leaders that have nominated champions. Should we list the name of every leader? And I said, no, you just skip listing out the names if you have more than one leader. Just say, congratulations, you have been selected by your leadership to be part of the distinguished champions team at the name of your organization. If it's just one leader, then you want to include the name of the leader here. If it's more than one, just say your leaders or your leadership. You also want to include the kickoff champion onboarding call information. Why? Because if you don't, this email is going to start raising more questions than answers. And at the bottom of the email, you want to provide a conclusion and just provide additional support, acknowledgments, and thanks to them. There is another email that is important for you to have access to. That is the emails the change champions should use to introduce themselves to their departments as champions. So here is that communication. It's much shorter than the one that I just shared with you because it needs to convey a few points. One of them is this. The champion is saying, I have been selected as a champion for a project, and then include the name of the project. Something else that is important for the champion to emphasize in this communication is my role will be to help facilitate a smooth transition and provide any support you may need. So the champion is literally talking to people within his or her or their department. These people should be familiar, should know this champion. But if it's a big organization, maybe some people do not. Irrespective whether everyone knows this about this, who this champion is, whether they've seen this champion before, or maybe they haven't, the champion still has to introduce themselves as a champion. There's a difference between knowing me, Obi, in the change management department, versus knowing Obi as a champion for Oracle Cloud implementation project, which is why this email is important for the champions to share and send out to people within the organization to say, if you have questions, if you have issues, if you have feedback about this project, reach out to me as a champion. If you sign up for the free trial for the OCM solution, all-in-one change management software, the link is below. You have access to all of these resources that I have on my screen. One of them is the champion onboarding deck, which contains, I believe, 20 to 40 slides that you can select from to kick off your champion network. It includes a strategic plan that you can use in Excel. It includes an awareness communication. It includes emails. We provided you with 2 templates, one long, one short, that you can send to managers requesting them to volunteer champions. What about the invite? To invite champions to the kickoff? Well, we provided you with a template. We also provided you with the different templates for that initial communications to champions, as well as the intro email for champions to use that I just shared with you. We also provided you with that here. Now, I sometimes get questions from people. Hey, Obi, we are looking to implement a champion network within our organization. What is the best practices for the number of champions we should solicit? 10, 20, 30, 100? Other questions are, when should we know that we need a champion network? It might be a small project, it might be a mid-sized project, it might be a large project. When do we really know? What are the signs that we need a champion network? When you take a look at this downloadable guide at the bottom here, that provides you with all of that information. All of these resources are free and downloadable for you. And one thing in regards to downloading those, that way you're not wasting time trying to find them. After you create a free trial account, on the sidebar, you want to click on free resources. Under categories, you want to find change champions, and that is where you have all of those resources. And that brings us to step number 3. For step number 3, you want to ensure that you are setting clear expectations. Setting clear expectations is very, very important for champions. And that includes a list of roles and responsibilities. For example, what you are currently looking at here on my screen. A champion supports a two-way communications and engagement. When you download the, let me go back to that other slide. When you download this kickoff template, it's a PowerPoint template. It includes multiple slides that cover roles and responsibilities of champions, why a champion network is important. Okay. All right. So roles and responsibilities during the kickoff, make sure you communicate that. And you also want to go over when during the kickoff call, when going over the roles and responsibilities, ask the champions if they have any questions. It's very important that they can ask questions and really understand what the roles and responsibilities are. Here is another important point for you to keep in mind. You want to ensure you define the success criteria. Earlier on, we talked about the purpose. You want to define what is the purpose of that champion network for that project. Related to that is the success criteria. Consider the purpose and the objective as the front gate and the success criteria as the back gate. So for example, you can say, this champion network has been successful because they help increase awareness. They have been successful because they help increase adoption. They have been successful because they help increase sentiment, things like that. It's important because when communicating and providing updates to your executive sponsors, you want to show them how the champion network is helping to increase success of adoption, success of the project. Okay. Now that moves us to step number 4. For step number 4, you want to ensure that you provide adequate training and resources to the champions. A champion without the right tool is less effective, especially for champions that have low to mid-level change management experience. So you want to ensure that you provide training on best change management practices. You want to provide effective communication. You want to help champions understand how to identify and manage resistance. You want to provide them with communication templates, including some of the ones that we are providing to you. FAQs and feedback forms that they can use to gather feedback from the organization. And that brings us to step number 5. For step number 5, you want to establish communication channels. Consistency is key to keeping your change champions engaged. Many times I get hired as a change management consultant. I join the organization, and then some of the stakeholders tell me, oh, yes, we used to have a champion network, but we don't know what happened to them. We didn't really do anything with them. We had a kickoff meeting 2 years ago, and we just never followed up. Or they did a kickoff meeting, they followed up with the champions once or twice, and then they just dropped the ball. You will not believe how many times I have seen that happen. But, you know, if ever you are faced with that situation, either being brought on to support a change as a project or change manager, and you're talking to people and they tell you that, hey, yes, we used to have a champion network for another project, we never did anything with that. You want to ensure that you don't make the same mistake. When you launch your champion network, you want to ensure you continue to keep them engaged. So create a two-way communication system, not just between you and the champions, but between leadership and the champions, between the executive sponsors and the champions. Schedule regular champion meetings. It could be town halls with champions. It could be office hours. Office hours are literally sessions, 30 minutes, 60 minutes every week, every other week, twice a month, once a month, that champions join to get additional hands-on support, hands-on answers to whatever questions that they might have, as well as also helping to educate them. In the beginning of a program, you want to meet with the champions more often. After a period of time has passed, then it wouldn't make sense to meet with them every day or every week. That just leads to burnout. Your champions will disappear on you if you overwhelm them with ongoing, non-stop requests to do this, requests to do that. So in the beginning, meet with champions often. After a period of time, meet with them once a while. Okay? Now, here's another one. You want to ensure that you use digital collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams, Slack, SharePoint, or whatever it is your organization is using to keep champions engaged. Okay? As well as giving champions a forum for them to ask questions that other champions might be thinking about or asking. And that leads to the next point, which is provide a central repository of documents or updates so champions always have access to the latest information and the latest decks. You don't want them having to go through their emails to find some document that you sent to them weeks or months ago. It's easy for them to just go to that one centralized place to go find things. So this is an important step. Okay, providing that central repository. It's not listed on my screen. What is listed is digital tools to engage with champions and two-way communication, but having a central repository where you have your document, and that could be SharePoint, that could be OneDrive, that could be Dropbox, that could be whatever repository your organization, your department is using. Just make sure champions have access to that folder. Very important for you to do that. Many times when I have created a central repository for champions, I just took the emails or the names of all of those champions, and in one go, I just gave them access to that folder. And then during the kickoff call, I mentioned to the champion that I've given all of you access to this folder. Please check. If you don't have access, reach out to me to make sure that I fix the problem, whatever issue that you're having that is not allowing you to have access. Okay. All right. So that brings us to step number 6. For step number 6, you will want to recognize and reward your champions. One thing I tell my change management clients who hire me to launch an organizational COP, which is community or practice, or they hire me to launch a change champion network, or they hire me to help them implement a CRP, an ERP, not CRP, a CRM like Salesforce, ERP like SAP or Oracle, or to help them do change management to roll out a change. I normally tell them this important information when it comes to change champion. Recognition drives motivation. Let me say this again, because this is real. We are talking about human behavior now. That's really what change management is all about. So it's important for all of you watching this to keep this in mind. When you are dealing with people, human beings, recognition drives motivation. And so you want to ensure that you are celebrating champions. That could be newsletters that go out. You can include on a rotating basis, like 1 or 2 or 3 champions that went overboard, right? Went far and beyond, not overboard, not over a ship or anything like that, but they went far and beyond. Include that in in the newsletter. Or something that I also do when doing change management is I encourage leadership to send out an email communication recognizing champions. Who is that email communication going out to? The managers of the champions. And then I tell the leader, please make sure you CC the champions. That way they can see that you are recognizing them to their leadership. That really goes a long way. In addition, you want to identify opportunities to provide the champions with professional development. So if they are change management or project management certifications, your organization can pay to have the champions go get certified on. That could be something that you consider. It's not always possible, especially now that organizations are reducing budget for things, but it's an option. Another option is it's a tricky one. So here we go. You can tie the contribution that a champion is making to their performance review or the annual reviews that they have. Now, I see everybody thinking, but I'm just a change manager, or I'm just a change resource, or I'm just a change consultant, I'm just a project manager. How do I tie the performance reviews of 30 people or 100 people to being a change champion network? Well, talk to their managers and their leaders and say, hey, by the way, when you are doing your annual review for these champion or champions from your department, can you please recognize them in the annual review that you're doing for going far and beyond as part of this champion network program that they were part of? A lot of leaders and managers will be very receptive to that. There are obviously exceptions to the rule. We know. But most managers and leaders will be receptive to that. And when they are, mention that to the champions, like during a champion office hours or engagement meeting. Just say, oh, hey, by the way, we have aligned with your leadership that during your annual review, your leaders will recognize you for going far and beyond as part of this champion network. see how champions very quickly start to perform more so than they were doing after you tell them that. And then let me know. Okay. Something else you should consider is informal recognition too. Like you can send a simple thank you message on Teams, Zoom, Slack, whatever collaboration tool your organization uses. You can say, "Hey, John Doe, just want to say thank you. You really did a lot last week or this week, and I just want to let you know I appreciate you." That goes a long way. That goes a long way. Or it could be having team celebrations also, and that could be done virtually or in person. For me, one of the top ways I am able to deliver successes for recognizing champions is the leadership shout outs, where I have leaders praising champions either during all hands meetings, town halls, or via email communications, because it really goes a long way when people feel appreciated and recognized. Now, I have said a lot of things today. So, one thing that I have done is created a free checklist for you to help simplify how you conduct your launching and managing of your champion network. You will notice on the checklist that it is a very simple checklist and it is broken into segments. That way you can focus on the activities within each segment one time, one at a time. And what we are looking at here on my screen are the 6 steps. You can take a screen, you can pause this video and take a screenshot. But there are two important mistakes you should avoid making when launching and managing a champion network. One, not measuring and adjusting. Your network has to evolve to remain relevant. And so make sure that you're tracking metrics like adoption rates of new processes and systems, okay? Employee engagement and sentiment, frequency and quality of feedback from the champions. These in total are not just measuring the champion network itself, but the effectiveness of the champion network. So, for example, if impacted end users are not adopting, they are not using the new system, it means the champion network is not effective. And so you want to measure the rates of people using the new system or the new processes. Now, I often get questions about, well, great, we should track all of these metrics. Good, good, good. How? And I normally say, well, you can use surveys, you can use focus groups. You can also use adoption dashboards. So if your program is implementing a system, you can obviously, a lot of the system include adoption tracking metrics. Okay, those are things that you can use. Now, check this out. If you look down here at the bottom of my screen, you will notice you want to do a couple of things. You want to adjust the network, your champion network, by adding new champions and rotating responsibilities. You also want to enhance training based on feedback that you're getting from the champions. Because you will find out that after you launch a champion network, some people that you thought will be great champions end up becoming MIA, missing in action. You send them an email, they don't bother responding, things like that. They become a non-productive champion. That's fine. It's the nature of the beast. Rotate them, get new champions to replace them, and just send them a very simple email. This is what I normally do. I say, hey, Jane Doe, I really understand that your schedule is very, very busy right now. And so, to help partner with you, we've we are looking to get another champion to help complement you. I say instead of you putting in 1 or 2 hours, you can put in 1 hour, and the other champion can put 1 hour for your roles and responsibility, or that new champion can actually replace you. Have an honest conversation with the person being replaced. Just don't do it out of the blue. Just say, "Hey, Jane Doe, we don't need you anymore. We have somebody else to take your place." No, that's not the right way to do it. Do it from a partnership perspective. Okay. Something else. Mistake number two. What is it? Mistake number two is not sustaining momentum long term. One common mistake that I see people doing is they disband the network after the first project. So the project is done. The champion network has been successful. Celebrations has happened. And they shut down the champion network. That is a mistake. If you've done it, that is a mistake. Instead, what you want to do is this: you want to keep the champions engaged for future initiatives. You obviously don't have to keep on overwhelming them with meetings, but you can meet with them once a month and just say, "Hey, we just want to check in and see how things are going with the champion network." You can, part of that is building an ongoing community of practice where champions can be sharing lessons learned, since the last time you guys met. That could have been a month ago or a quarter ago. What have they learned? What can be done to help improve future champion network activities for future projects, right? Keep that ongoing. And as I mentioned, you want to rotate champions as needed, even after the project is done. Some champions might say, "Okay, thank you, I'm no longer interested." Just get another champion to replace them. Maintain leadership sponsorship is another critical component. So executive support is sustainable. With large scale organizations that I've done change management consulting for, I normally encourage ongoing champion engagement. Even when projects are done, keep the champion network ongoing at a low scale, but keep them that way. When the time comes for you to leverage them in the future, they are already there for you. Now, one key thing, I know I've said a lot of key things today, but here's one key thing: a change champions network is really one of the most effective ways to embed change within an organization. The best practices include, and now I'm just kind of summarizing, the best practices include selecting the right people, training them well, keeping communication open, and recognizing their contributions. Organizational change management is changing. Watch the next video for why, how, and what you need to do